Put your head on my shoulder. Hold me in your arms, baby. Squeeze me oh so tight. Show me that you love me too. Put your lips.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Meet the Lovatos channel. Still don't have a catchy phrase, but eventually I will. So, I know I've been saying this for the longest time that I was gonna come and do a story time. So guess what? The day is here, finally. I'm hella nervous. Let's see what happens. Crossing my fingers that I don't cry. No quiero ser llorona, but it is gonna be a emotional one. Let's see what happens though. I'm gonna try to be strong. I am gonna be doing my hair, by the way, just because I need to. So I'm gonna be curling my hair while I do this little short story time. Basically, I wanted to share with you guys my story on my previous relationship. It is a domestic violent relationship that I was involved in for 9 years of my life. So I figured I would share with some of you just because I feel like nowadays a lot of girls go through so much related situations like myself, I guess, but everybody is so afraid to speak up, or you feel like nobody understands you, you feel all alone. And trust me, I was there. I was in a really serious relationship. I actually met the father of my son when I think I was like 13, gonna be 14 when I met him. He was already 18. And I started seeing him for the longest time, you guys. Like always, when you first start your relationship, it's like puppy love, you know what I mean? You feel like it's your world. You feel like you're so special and you're the only girl that he cares about, blah, blah, blah. But let me tell you what, ladies. Love is blind. Love is blind. Don't let it fool you. Unfortunately, we can't really control what our heart feels, you know what I mean? Like I said, when you first start off in a relationship, everything seems perfect. You get butterflies in your stomach, you're deeply in love, and then slowly you start to realize what type of person they are. I don't care what anybody says, from experience, and not just one experience of 9 years, but I was in another relationship as well for almost 5 years, which was the same thing. So now I could basically say I know this for a fact, that when a man puts hands on you, that's it. Once they do it one time, they're gonna do it again. And that's the truth. I don't care how many people insist that, no, they're gonna change, they're gonna change. They don't change, let me tell you. They don't change. So I hope that by you guys seeing my story, you guys will feel a little bit more motivated on opening your eyes, because like I said, love is blind, and unfortunately, it takes us to go through a really bad experience to finally understand and move forward. And that's just the truth. Basically, I was really young when I met him. I stayed with him for such a long time that eventually, once I turned, I think I was gonna be 17 when I moved out of my house and I moved in with him. We got our own place. So I was living with him and everything was good. We used to, you know, the party life, having fun, hanging out with everybody, going out and all that stuff. Even though I couldn't go to the bar because I was younger and stuff, we would get hotel rooms and party, and I'd bring all my friends, and I started ditching school to go with him. And it was just, I was young and dumb, you can say. So then afterwards, when we started to get really serious, I noticed that he had like a drinking problem. He always wanted to be drinking and all this stuff. And yes, I got cheated on left and right, you guys. The first time that I got cheated on, basically, I had a curfew. This is before I even moved in with him, you guys. I feel like this is probably one of the main reasons on why I wanted to move in with him, because of the cheating. And I thought, well, if I move in with him, maybe he won't cheat on me anymore. But I was just so young and dumb, and stupidest thing ever. The first time I caught him cheating on me, basically I went home for the night because I had a curfew. I had to be home no later than midnight. So I was at home. And little did I know, the next day, he wouldn't answer my calls when I got home, right? So it was like already after midnight and he wouldn't answer my calls. So I was like, what the heck? What is going on? The next day I had to go to school because I was still going to school. I was a freshman at Capitol High. And I ended up ditching school because I had my own car. I ditched school. I went to his work to see like what the hell is going on. Like, why aren't you answering my calls? So I get there or whatever. And sure enough, he starts talking to me. And I guess the reason why I remember this so like I could remember it till this day is because like it was basically the first time that my heart got broken. And instead of walking away, I decided to stick it out, and it was like the biggest mistake I could do in my life. Basically, after I got to his work and he was talking to me, and then all of a sudden somebody came outside looking for him at his work. I guess that you could say they were basically calling him to go inside. And I was sitting in the car, and he kneeled down and turned this way because they were calling him. And when he turned that way, he had a big old hickey on his neck. So my heart was pounding, and I was just so mad. And I told him, like, what the hell is that? You know, like, are you kidding me? Like, what kind of bullshit is this, dude? Are you kidding me? And of course, he gave me a big old story. I moved on. I let it go. So then afterwards, I ended up moving in with him. When I moved in with him, that's when things started to change a lot, because the drinking got worse for him. He started drinking a lot and started doing other drugs. And when he would drink, he would just become a totally different person and very disrespectful towards me. And the verbal abuse started. But one thing for sure, he would never, ever, ever lay hands on me in front of anybody, ever, because he knew that people would talk about him. So I can't tell you exactly the first time that he laid hands on me because I don't remember, but I do remember some of the stories that I went through that I could share with you guys, because I honestly don't remember when was the first time he laid hands on me. But basically one of the times, the first time that he ever laid hands on me was, we were all hanging out at his cousin's house, and all his cousins were there because at the time, that's who we would hang out with, was all the cousins. So we were all hanging out in the garage, and he was drinking. And every time he would drink, every time that he would drink, he would automatically think that I was trying to hook up with his cousins. Like, come on. I think it was more like his conscience feeling bad because he would cheat on me all the damn time, you know. And we were sitting, I was literally sitting right next to his cousin, and he was on the opposite side of me. And he called me to go sit by him. So there I go, like an idiot. And keep in mind, he was on house arrest because he was on probation for stupid reasons or whatever. And he had an ankle bracelet or whatever. He asked me to go and sit by him. So I went and I sat by him. And then he started telling me, like, why the F are you trying to hook up with my cousin? Like, you're such a why would you do that in front of me? And no. But I wasn't even doing anything. I was literally just like this, standing next to his cousin. Like, we were sitting against the car because we were in the garage. And then all of a sudden, I just felt him grab me like by my hair and dragged me down in front of everybody, all his cousins, for the first time, you guys. And everybody was like, what the is going on? they went and they got him off of me, and he was trying to run towards me again to grab me, and they wouldn't let him go. So the cousins ended up driving him home to his grandpa's house, which was right up the street. And my I felt so bad that he had left or whatever, or that they took him over there. And he kept on calling me, and he's like, you better pick me up because my grandpa's gonna call the cops on me and I'm gonna go to jail because of you. Like, just giving me a big old story. So there I go. Even though all the cousins were like, don't go, Chris, don't go over there because he's gonna end up doing something to you. And I'm like, well, I don't want him to go to jail. You know what I mean? Like, I felt bad for the guy. So they wanted to go with me, and I said no, for them not to go with me because it was just gonna make things worse, because he already thought that I was trying to hook up with the cousins. So if the cousins went with me, it was gonna just make it worse for me. So I ended up going for him. I called him and I told him I was outside. Keep note, like, it was already probably like 1, 2 in the morning, right? So he gets in the car and I start reversing, and I reverse and I start driving forward, and we were literally right in front of the neighbor's house. And then all I remember is getting punched in the face several times. It just kept punching me and punching me. And I was trying to like get him off of me, right? And he wouldn't. So at the same time that I was trying to push him off of me, I was pushing the horn on the car. And next thing I know, you guys, somebody comes and opens the driver door where I was sitting. And they start punching him, and like they were beating him up. And I was just like, stop, 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 like freaking out, you know what I mean? And I just remember pushing the gas and driving away. And the guy just, I guess he like obviously flew back or something, because I just took off. The door closed and he's like, you stupid, you see what you do? This is all your fault. It was always my fault, you guys. This is your fault. And I was driving, trying to haul to get to the cousin's house, right? So on my way to over there, he still tried hitting me and stuff. And then the next thing I know, you guys, he bit my face so hard, you guys. Like, it was so painful. I just knew that he broke through the skin, because it felt like I could feel like a burning sensation on my face. And he did. He broke through my skin. I don't know if you could actually see that. But if you could see those 2 little teeth marks, yeah, scarred for life, you guys. And I ended up making it to his cousin's house. And I remember, dude, not even putting the car in park. I just got out of the car and took off running, while his cousins saw what he had done to me, and they beat him up like no other. For the first time ever, I actually felt like somebody understood where I was coming from, because every time that I tried talking to his cousins about it, they wouldn't believe me, because I would get bruises and stuff, but he would bruise me in my body where nobody was going to see it, you know, like my back, or hit me in my head, stuff like that, right? And after that, you guys, we split up for a while, and I didn't learn. I went back to him again. I ended up going back to him again. Another of the times that I remember is this guy has like, even though he was my first love, you can say someone that I cared for so much because I was so young, I guess. He literally, all I could say is he never cared about me, you guys, ever. There was another time that we were going to visit his cousins, same cousins, but they were staying at a hotel room. And at the time I was doing pills. I started doing pills because me and him would break up so much. And every time we would break up, I would go hang out with my friends and I would start doing pills and stuff because I was so depressed. And at this point I was doing pills, right? So when I got back with him, I was doing pills or whatever. And one day he wanted to go to his cousins, and I didn't want to get down because at the time I had problems with one of his cousin's friends. And everybody knows her as this big old crazy person. She's like, nobody should mess with her because she's all gangster and stuff. And the cousin was like that too. And I knew they were there because his cousin was dating her. And I didn't want to get out of the car. So he's like, I'll be right back. I'm just going to run inside real fast. And I said, all right. So I was waiting in the car for him in the parking lot. And I was so messed up, you guys. I remember falling asleep in the middle part of the car, like where you rest your arm on. I was like this, right? Sleeping. Next thing I know is I wake up to somebody punching me in my face, like nonstop, you guys. Non-stop. Well, he set me up. He basically took me over there so they could beat me up on purpose. Like I was honking the horn for somebody to help me, you guys. And all his cousins, the girls, well, it was just the girls. They were all outside and this one girl just kept hitting me for no reason, you guys. Just because she felt insecure that her boyfriend wanted me. Because when he would get drunk, he would hit on me and he would tell them that I was beautiful and all this stuff, making it worse for me, right? So anyways, she wouldn't stop hitting me or whatever. And then finally when she stopped, she got off, she left. And then my dumbass, instead of leaving, I stayed in the car waiting for him to come back. And then he came back and I'm like, look what they did to me, dude. Like, where were you? Dude, they busted all my blood vessels in my eyes. Like, I guess you could say regardless of getting like set up and beat up and all this stuff and the pain that I went through, I guess what hurt me more is that he would do something like that to me because I was with him for such a long time. And I just couldn't believe that he would do that to me. And he's like, I swear to you that I didn't set you up. I didn't even know that they were going to do that to you. I didn't even know that they left the room. Like, if you're in a hotel room and all it is one big square like this, how are you not going to notice that all 4 of the girls left the hotel room? How are you not going to notice? So I know for a fact that he set me up regardless of what he says. And like I said, like regardless of them doing what they did and my blood vessels on my eyes were all busted, whatever. Pain, you know, that only hurts for a little bit and it goes away. But the pain of feeling of him setting me up, and that's when I started opening my eyes, you guys, that this guy just didn't care about me. I was nothing to him, you know, like nothing. But I still stayed with him. So after that, you guys, it just got worse and worse and worse. And it was like he wouldn't come home. I would always catch him at his friend's house because instead of coming home, he would go to this older man's house and he would go and drink with him, and he would come back all coked out, and then he started smoking crack, and he would stay outside of the house all night long smoking crack because I wouldn't let him in the house. I was so against that. Like, what the hell's wrong with you, you know? Like, whatever you, like, you're not going to do that shit here. Because at the time we had bought in a house, and we bought a mobile home, which we had at my mom's property. And I was there all the time by myself because he would never come home. Well, towards the end of our relationship, you guys, I ended up finally getting pregnant. I had already been, so it's probably going to be 7.5 years. And then I find out that I'm pregnant, right? So me so happy, you know, that I'm pregnant and all this stuff. And it just kept getting worse, you guys. He would tell me he was going, one time he told me he was going to go fishing, and I already knew he was lying, right? So I would go and I would drive by Cheeks, which is the strip club, and I would find him there. But the only thing is that I couldn't go inside of the bar because I was still not 21. I was only 19, gonna be 20 at the time, and I couldn't go inside the strip club. But he was in there because I found a friend's truck, and in the back of the truck, it had the fishing rods and all that. So it was him. And then he would come home and act like nothing, like he didn't do anything. And I would still take him back. Every single time, you guys, I would always take him back. And then after a while, it was just like this man's never gonna change. You know what I mean? Like, I'm nothing to him. And there was one time that I was already pregnant. I was probably like, well, before I tell you this part, it was so bad. The drinking became so bad that he didn't care about me anymore, even though I was pregnant. And I used to work at Kmart. And the day that I was going to find out what I was going to have for my ultrasound, he told me he was going to pick me up to take me to my appointment because he was so excited to find out what we were having. Keep in mind, this is my first baby. So he was all excited or whatever. He said, that's what he said. Well, anyways, I kept calling him and calling him and calling him, and he wouldn't pick up. And it was snowing, you guys, at the time. And the hospital where I had to go get my ultrasound was literally like, if you drove from Kmart to the hospital, it was probably like a good 15-minute drive. So it wasn't too bad of a drive, but I didn't have a car, you guys. And I didn't want to miss my appointment. I wanted to know what I was having. So even though it's a 15-minute drive to get to that hospital, walking is double. You know what I mean? It's a good 30 minutes, 45 minutes walking because you're walking. It was snowing, it was freezing, and I walked all the way to my ultrasound to find out what I was having. I was so heartbroken. Like, I was already to the point that I was getting tired of it. Like, I was just like, hell no, dude. Like, what am I doing, Crystal? Like, why are you doing this to yourself? You don't need him. Like, why are you doing this? But no, I wanted my family to stay together and all this stuff. So after this, he picked me up and he gave me his big old story that he was sorry and all this stuff. Once again, hickeys on his neck and drinking or whatever. And I was just like, yeah, well, just take me home, dude. Whatever. I just want to go home already. And he's like, well, what am I having? What are we having? And I told him, and he was all excited. And let's celebrate with hickeys on his neck, dude. Let's celebrate. Let's go get some liquor and I'll get you some food or whatever. So he took me home, whatever. So then after that, you guys, later on down the road, I was already 8 months pregnant. And again, I was at home waiting for him to come home, and he didn't come home. So then it comes around 1, 2 in the morning, and we live on a private property on land. We own land, you know, and I could hear them coming up because they had the system all loud. And I go and I stand by the door, and he's getting dropped off, and he opens the door. He's with his friend. They open the door, dude. It was a truck, and it was his friend, some girl sitting next to the friend, and then another girl, and then him. So I could assume he was hooking up with the other girl. He gets out of the car, the truck, and the girls are all laughing in the background because I'm standing there with the plate in my hands. And he's just getting out, and these girls are all laughing at me. So he starts walking up the stairs, and I open the door's open already, right? When I'm standing there, and I'm like, you're a f***ing Trump, dude. Like, how dare you be like cheating on me while I'm pregnant? And he's like just laughing in my face. So I threw the bowl of food in his face. Well, he got so mad, and he pushed me, and I flew back, and they left. They didn't even get down to help me out, you guys. They just left, and he went inside. And I already knew he was gonna hit me and stuff, so I already expected that. And we started arguing, and basically at the time we were painting one of the rooms to make it the nursery room. While he went in there and he grabbed one of the sticks for the rollers to paint the wall or whatever, he grabbed that and he started hitting me with it. So I just remember like turning around and like letting him hit my back so he wouldn't hit my stomach, because I was already 8 months pregnant. So he continued to hit me or whatever. And then finally he stopped, you guys. And then he tried to choke me out. He kept choking me to the point that I ended up passing out. So then when I woke up, I was laying on the bed and he was gone. I don't know where he went. I don't know what he was doing. So then I went and I looked outside, and sure enough, he was outside in the car smoking crack. So I just locked the doors and I wouldn't let him in no more. And at the time, I called my mom and I told my mom what was going on. And my mom came to the house to make sure I was okay, and he left. he left or whatever. And my mom's like, you just need to leave him already. You don't deserve this. Like, I know you care for him, but you need to leave him. And I'm like, I know I will. I'm going to get tired of it eventually. And my mom's like, when you have this baby, all that's going to matter is your son. You're not going to be like, you need to think about your son and not yourself anymore or your feelings. You need to leave him. So anyways, I ended up having the baby and everything seemed like it was going to get better. Of course, you always think that babies are going to fix everything, but it doesn't. They're not going to change, you guys. Men will not change when they act like that. So anyways, I have my baby and we continue to start fighting. Everything seemed okay. The first 2 months of us being together and having the baby, everything seemed all right. But then towards the end, he started drinking again. And the last straw would have to be this story that I'm about to tell you. It was around the time that the state fair was in Albuquerque, because if you guys didn't know, I am originally from Santa Fe, New Mexico. And the state fair comes to Albuquerque, New Mexico. And he said he was going to take me to the fair. And he's like, make sure you and the baby are ready. And when I get home, I'm going to pick you guys up and we'll go to the fair. I said, all right. So he's like, don't eat anything. We'll eat when we get there. And I said, okay. So 5 o'clock comes and he gets out at 5 o'clock and he should be home by 5:30. Nothing. Started calling him around 6 o'clock and he wouldn't answer. 6:30, wouldn't answer. 7 o'clock, wouldn't answer. So I already know where he's at. Because like I said, every time I would catch him drinking was at that old friend's house, this old man. So he wasn't like an old man, but he was older than him. So I go over there and sure enough, he's there. So I walk in and they're like, David, the warden is here. And he's like, they call me the warden, you guys, because supposedly I was the warden because I would always take them away when they were having fun. So they would call me the warden. So then he's already all drunk, you guys, and doing drugs at this point. And I'm like, God, dude, like, are you serious? Like, you said you were going to take us to the fair. And nope. He said he wasn't and he was all drunk. And I'm like, you know what, dude? Whatever. I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. So I grabbed Nathaniel because he was in the car seat. He was little, you guys. He was only like 5 months old. He was really little. And I grabbed the car seat and I told him, like, you're going to act like this? Then whatever, dude. I don't want to be with you anymore. I'm done. So he grabbed the car seat out of my hands and he put the baby on top of the roof of the car. And he got in the car like he was going to take off and leave the baby on the top. So I ended up grabbing the baby and he took off all fast, dude. If I wouldn't have grabbed my son, he would have fell. So I grabbed him and then he took off. And then I told him, I was yelling at him and telling him, you know, like, I'm going to call the cops on you, dude. I'm going to call the cops on you. If you keep on going, I'm going to call the cops on you. And I know he could hear me, right? Because I was yelling this shit out. So then he stops right before he gets to the stop sign, gets out of the car and takes off running, dude. He takes off running and leaves the car right there. So I go and I get in the car. And instead of going home, I go and look for him. I put Nathaniel in the back seat of the car. And I had him in the back seat. I had him in the middle, obviously facing that way. So the back windshield was facing towards the baby, right? So I find him, you guys, and he's all running or whatever. And I stop on the side and I'm like, get in the car already. Let's just go to the fair. Like, trying to make things better, right? Hell no, dude. Hell no. He wouldn't get in the car. And at this time, you guys, we are right in front of a public library. And in front of that library at the time, before they ended up closing this library, they had a little security guard that would always stand out there and watch, right? Because it was a swimming pool and a library at the time. So he wouldn't get in the car. And then he's like, leave me alone, you all this stuff, calling me all these names. And I'm like, let's just go. Let's go to the fair. And he didn't want to. So then I start driving forward. You know what I mean? Like, I start going. And then all of a sudden, all I hear is a big old whoosh, like a big old loud noise, dude. He got a rock this big, and threw it at the back of my windshield. Like, I'm not lying when I say that it missed Nathaniel's car seat by this much, you guys. That rock was bigger than my son's head. That's right there when I said, I'm done. I'm fucking done. That's it, dude. I pulled over to, like, stop the car, opened. He took off running down the arroyo because there was an arroyo right there, and he took off. And I stopped the car right there in the middle of the road, and I got out to see if Nathaniel was okay. And the rock was literally on the side of the car seat, dude, and there was glass all over Nathaniel, and I was freaking out. And the security guard ran towards me, and he's like, "Are you okay? Is the baby okay?" And I'm like, yes, we're okay. And Nathaniel was crying and crying because it was loud, dude. Like, it was loud. And Nathaniel was crying, and he's like, "I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to call the cops." And I was like, "No, please don't call the cops. I don't want him to get in trouble." Like, still, dude, still defending him. And the guy's like, "I'm sorry, but I gotta call the cops. That's not okay what he did." So he called the cops, and the cops get there, and they start searching for him, and the ambulance gets there, and the ambulance makes sure that Nathaniel's okay, and Nathaniel was okay. And they're like, "Do you want to press charges?" And I said, "No, I don't want to press charges against him." And they're like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "No." And they're like, "Well, I'm sorry to tell you this, but the state is going to press charges against him, regardless of you doing it or not, because of what he did involving a child. And it's like battery against you and your son." So I ended up getting to leave, you guys, and I'm driving my car up the street so my mom could pick me up because the whole windshield in the back was busted. My mom picks me up, and then I guess they ended up catching him, and he went to jail or whatever, and he stayed in jail for a while. And I ended up going and moving in with my mom, dude. I didn't want to live in that trailer anymore. I didn't want to be with him anymore. I was done. So then he gets out of jail, and I'm trying to be so strong and not give in and not get back with him, dude. But, like, it's hard, you know what I mean? I've been with this man for 9 years. By this time, I was already 20. I had just turned 21, and I was so hurt about everything that was going on. But my son was more important to me. At this point, I was just done. He gets out of jail, and he's calling me, and he's like, "I'm sorry, I'm going to change. I'm going to make things better. I'm not going to drink anymore." And I believed him. So I was willing to give him another chance, but he was on house arrest. So one time, you guys, I went to go and visit him at his grandparents' house because that's where he was. My mom didn't want me to take the baby, so I didn't take the baby. And he was like all talking to me that he was going to change and make things better and all this stuff, right? So I'm falling for it again, right? So I end up going home back to my mom's with the baby. And then the next day, one of my really good friends invited me to go out. And I was like, "No, dude, I don't want to go out. You know, like, I'm going through so much. And, you know, I don't want him to get mad." And my mom's like, she said, "I know this is really weird for you, but I'm going to tell you that you have to go out. You have to go with your friend. You need to get out. You need to get out of this house. I don't want you to be stuck at home just because he's on house arrest. I want you to move on, and you're not going to move on if you stay home." So she let me go out. I went with my friend. We went to a house party. And when we were there, I ended up meeting my daughter's dad. But this is where it gets crazy. So he was there, whatever, and his sister was there, and she was telling me, like, "Isn't your baby dad David?" And I said, "Yeah, why?" She's like, "Well, you're friends with the twins, right?" And I said, "Yeah, because I've known these twins since elementary." And I said, "Yeah, why?" And she's like, "Oh," she said, "because we were at your baby's daddy's house a few days ago, and we were all drinking and partying there, and one of the twins hooked up with him." And I'm like, "Yeah, right, dude. He's on house arrest." That's what I'm thinking in my head. I'm like, she's lying. I'm like, "Are you serious?" I said, "Where at?" Just to kind of like fish her to find out if she was saying the truth. And she's like, yeah, we went to his grandparents' house, and then we had to come in through the back door because I guess there's like a back door to his bedroom, which was true. And I'm like, oh, really? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, well, are you sure they hooked up? And she's like, yeah, dude, they hooked up. And that was it, dude. I didn't want to be with him anymore. I was done, and I didn't want to do nothing with him. I was so hurt with life, and I'm like done with it, you know what I mean? And that's when I started talking to my daughter's dad, like getting to know him or whatever, because at first I didn't want to because I felt so bad, you know? But then after she told me that, I was so pissed off. So I was like, you know, whatever. I'm going to do this. Like, I'm going to move on if he already is. I'm tired of getting played all the time. The whole time I was with him, you guys, I got played like a fool, but I'm not even going to lie. Did I cheat on him? Yes, I did. And I cheated on him one time. And I'm not ashamed of that. I don't feel bad about that. But I didn't cheat on him towards the end, you guys. And, you know, like, I don't regret it because of everything that he did to me and all the cheating he did to me. And yes, I cheated on him with one person, and I don't care. I don't take that back, dude. I do not regret that because of what I went through. And anyways, I ended up meeting my daughter's dad, and later on to find out the truth, I did ask, you know, I asked David if it was true that these girls were over there, and he said they were, and I told him like to tell me the truth, what was going on, and he ended up telling me the truth. And apparently he hooked up with one of the girls. It wasn't like, you know, it was the twins and the sister, my daughter's auntie. And I'm not gonna say who it was or whatever, but yeah, he did cheat on me with one of them, and I ended up just giving up and moving on, dude. And not even like a month later, my son's dad was already dating somebody else. And I stayed dating my daughter's dad, dude. And it was just like, my heart was still with him, you know what I mean? With my son's father. But I wanted to let go so bad that I continued to see my daughter's father. And that's another story for the books, you guys. That's another story, but I'm not going to get into that. But I ended up not getting back with him. And I'm not going to lie, like, even though I moved on or whatever, and he moved on, once in a while, he would call me when I was in my other relationship, and he would tell me he missed me and he wanted me back and all this stuff. And dude, I held my ground and I didn't go back. I didn't go back. And let me tell you something, when like I said, how they don't change, they don't change. Because till this day, you guys, he is not involved in my son's life. He hasn't been in my son's life. Never, just on and off when he feels like it. He's still a really bad alcoholic. He still does drugs. He has 2 more kids, which he lost custody to them, him and his baby mama. So it goes to show you that they never change. And yes, he's always in and out of jail because he's always fighting with the new baby mama. So they never change. And I haven't been with him in 15 years because I was with my daughter's dad for 5 years, and now I'll be with Michael for 9 years. So you could say a good 15 years of me not being with this individual, and he's still the same. He's still an alcoholic. He's still a piece of shit, basically, and he's still beating his baby mama. Like, I feel bad for him. It's like sad to say because like, to this point, you guys, I feel like whenever the grandpa calls me, my son's grandfather, because he's really involved in my son's life, he is more like a father figure to my son than his own dad, you know. But I could tell you this, that every time that I get a phone call from the grandpa, I always think they're probably calling to tell me that he passed away because he's doing so bad. It's sad to say, but that is how I feel. Like, my son hates his dad, which is so sad, you guys, because like my son doesn't like his dad because of it, the way he is, you know, like when your son is 12 years old and he's coming home saying, oh, my dad was at my grandpa's house, and of course he was fighting with his girlfriend, with whatever, I don't want to say her name, but he was fighting with her, and they were fighting over heroin, Mom. I'm like, dude, that is sad. My son is 12 years old, and the fact that my son knows all that, it breaks my heart. So now I don't even let my son go over there no more, because the last time that my son was there visiting with his grandparents or his grandpa, he came home and he literally cried to me that he doesn't want to go over there no more, because every time he goes over there, it's always problems and they're always fighting. And his grandpa, he is like such an amazing man, you guys. He took in Nathaniel's sisters, the two little girls. One of them's in first grade. The other one is in kindergarten. And he is 86 years old, you guys. And he took over of those little girls. I feel so bad for him. And I feel bad for the little girls, because like, what's going to happen to those little girls whenever he's gone? Like, I deeply wish that David and this girl would get better and be there for their child, like their little girls. I feel so bad for them. And I don't know, you guys, but I don't think that he will ever change. Sometimes I feel like sometimes it would be better if he wasn't here, because he's just hurting himself. He's hurting my son, and he don't care about anybody but himself, dude. When you are too deep in drugs, you don't care about anybody. You just care about yourself. And that's the truth. So like, basically the reason why I did this whole story is because I want you guys to know that if I could do it, you could do it. It might feel like you might feel like you can't let go, but I promise you, you will. Like, no matter if you are a friend of somebody that is going through the same situation that I went through, let me tell you this. Don't even bother on telling them to move on and leave them. Don't even bother. Because at the end of the day, they're not going to leave them. It's going to take them to go through something really, really scary or awful to open their eyes, and then they're going to leave. But till then, they're not going to do it. They're not going to leave them, because they're so in love, and love is so freaking blind. They're not going to leave. I'm telling you right now, because my friends would always tell me to leave and I wouldn't. Another thing is, like, if you're going through something like this and you feel trapped, you need to talk to counselors. You need to talk to anybody that could understand. There are support groups out there. Unfortunately, I never did any of that. But now that I see all this, everything that I went through, and I see other girls going through it, and it's like, the best thing I could say is be strong and just move on. It's only going to hurt for a little bit, but is it better to hurt for a little bit or be in a relationship that's always hurt, that you're always hurting? No. So it's better to move on. Like, to be honest with you guys, I feel like one of the main reasons why I didn't want to leave was plain and simple. I didn't want to see him with another girl. That was my fear. But at the same time, it's like, how am I going to be feeling this type of way that I don't want him to be with anybody else when he was with other people already? He was cheating on me, so he was with other girls already. Like, I honestly wish I wouldn't have wasted 9 years of my life with him. The only good thing that came out of that whole situation is my blessing of my son. My son is such a blessing, you guys. After that incident where I could have almost lost my son, that was it. That was it. Like, I couldn't even deal with it, even though, like, it seems like the reason why I did leave him was because he was messing around with somebody else already at his grandparents. That's not really the reason why. Like, when all that situation happened with my son, that's when I decided that I was done. I was already doing that. I was listening to him, trying to be there for him, but I was already done, you guys. Like, I was already physically and mentally, I was done dealing with it. I didn't want to do it anymore. And now, like, I'm dead serious when I tell you Don't look for love. Let love look for you. Love will find you. The one person that is meant for you will come to you. It took me 15, well, not 15 years. It took me, well, yeah, it took me 15 years to finally find the person. Well, less than that. So we'll say it took me 5 years to finally find the right person. The person that respects me, the person that doesn't call me every name in the book besides babe, baby mama, and Chris. Like, Michael is such an amazing person. Like, I love him so much, you guys. And that's one of the reasons why I was willing to wait for him when he went away to prison. Because he's never laid hands on me. He's never disrespected me by cheating. He has never called me, not even a bitch, much less a slut or any other name in the book. Never. So to me, he is my soulmate. I love him so much. Like, if Michael were to cheat on me, I think that would be it. I think I would never, ever, ever be with another man again in my life, because in my eyes, he is perfect. And if he were to hurt me like that, I wouldn't be able to live with that, much less be with another man. Because it's like, Michael was the one that proved to me that there really is good men out there. He has shown me that they do exist. So if he were to ever do anything like that, he would just kill it for me. And I would just be done. I would dedicate my life to my children, my grandbabies, or whatever, and that's it. I would never get with another man, and I'm damn sure of that. But I just want you guys to know that me sharing this is because I want you guys to be strong. If you are going through this, you guys, please, please let go and move on. It's only going to hurt for a little bit, but I promise you in the long run, you're going to be so happy that you went ahead and moved on and didn't stick around for the bullshit, because basically it's bullshit. Okay, guys, so I don't know what else I could possibly say besides that it makes me feel so relieved that I was able to open up like this with you guys, because I have not shared anything like this to anybody, especially something that I'm going to be sharing so publicly. I hope that nobody will sit there and judge me, even though I know that I'm probably going to get either positive or negative comments or people talking about me or whatever. I don't know what the outcome of this video is going to be, but I just hope that the outcome is that some of you ladies can learn from my story. And if you are going through something similar to what I went through, let go and move on. If you have children involved, please, please, please leave. You're only going to affect your children, and it's not okay. That is not okay. It's not fair to your children at all in any way. I feel like something like that could traumatize a child really deeply. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because in my second relationship that I was in, basically it affected my 12-year-old so bad that I'm telling you, you need to leave. If you are in that situation, your kids will always remember that, and they might even hold it against you. Because I'm telling you right now, like my son, the words that comes out of his mouth when it comes to my daughter's dad, it just shocks me on how much hate he has towards him because of everything that I went through. But that would be a whole nother story time, which I doubt that I will ever have the chance to even say anything about that story because of the situation that I'm in right now, and it would just cause problems, and I don't need my daughter to go through that. So maybe one day later on down the road, I will share that story time with you guys. But as for now, I hope you guys, I can't really say I hope that you guys enjoyed this, because it wasn't really something to be super excited about or happy about. I'm not doing it because I want anybody to feel sorry for me. I'm doing it because I want you guys to realize that there is such thing as good men out there. There is such thing of letting go and moving on. If you need help, just ask for it. But at the same time, if you're not ready for it, don't drag your friends into it. Don't call your friends every time that you guys got in a fight. Because if you're going to make up with him, I'm telling you that your friends will get tired of it eventually, to the point that they're not even going to want to listen to your stories anymore. They're not going to care anymore. So when you're ready, just let go and move on. I'm telling you, you will be more happy than sad. Eventually, the right man will walk into your life. Mark my words. There is true love out there. There is happiness out there. And I found mine. I'm happy. I love my baby so much. He is so amazing, even though I might drive him crazy sometimes. And poor guy, he's probably starting to get white hairs because of me. But I love him so much. Like, he's the world to me. I don't see myself growing old with anybody else but him. Like, even if I gotta change his Depends, I will be changing his Depends. I don't care. I love that man till like the last breath I take. I will love him no matter what. Unless you cheat on me. You hear me? Just play. But, okay, I'm not playing about that. You better not cheat on me, boy. Better not. But that's it, you guys. If you guys could do me the biggest favor and give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Turn on your post notifications. If you have any comments or any questions, please leave them down below. I would really appreciate it. Thank you, ladies, for all the love and the support that I get from you guys. And I will see you guys on the next vlog. Bye, guys.